Hello and welcome to the show. Another car is going to be taking on the Hot Wheels Showdown course, and for today it will be the Hyundai Genesis, a car that I actually quite like. It's a vehicle that's often much forgotten when it comes to Forza, but when it comes to games in general. But yeah, I really quite like the Genesis, and I'm going to give it a try. I fear my predictions going into this is the Genesis might be a little bit too heavy to be massively competitive. It tends to be what I found with this car when I've built it for any sort of racing or in any previous events. But I could be wrong. I have been wrong about cars in the past, so yeah, I don't really know. Let's start off with the tyres, shall we? Put it on to the Hot Wheels Race Compound tyre. It does start off relatively high PI. It's higher than some cars, certainly than the Skyline, for example, that went out last time. 245s at the front, please be bigger rear tyres. 275s, not the biggest tyres overall. Could be worse, I guess, is about all I can say with that lot. Engine-wise, I'm not sure if the standard engine is going to get us to the top of S1 class. While we are almost into S1 already, it might do actually, because we're going to take out a fair bit of weight, hopefully, and that should jump the PI up. We're going to want some lovely race brakes. We're going to want some race suspension and all of these various bits and pieces. Roll cage will put us up into S1 class now. Weight reduction. Actually, doesn't jump the P up as much as I thought it would. £2,900. Could be worse, I guess, overall. We will, of course, be wanting that full weight reduction. We're going to want adjustable gear ratios in the car. I'll stick in the diff as well. It's not going to... doesn't add any PI, doesn't harm anything. So we will put that there. And then to the engine. What can we get? Now, there are a couple of options in terms of engines. I think the most likely option will again be a V8 in this. If this standard one is not good enough, we can, I imagine, do an aspiration, add on some twin turbos. Twin turbos sound like a good idea to me. Give it a bit more power gain than you get with the supercharger, so we will go with that option, and hopefully with the turbos upgraded, we will get, with camshafts and turbos. Actually, not a terrible engine. I say not a terrible engine in this one. You can get a decent amount of power, actually. I'm impressed. Up to 717 horsepower already. Yeah, we'll max it out in S1 class or with the car standard engine. It's nice to see. I say that. We have still got a little bit of PI to go. There we go. 786 horsepower. Statistics-wise, I was actually fearing that this car might not get so much power. I was slightly fearful that the car would not be getting so much power towards the top of S1 class. Now, we have a choice. Do we go 823 horsepower but more weight? If we do that, we'll go 823. I'm not going to bother oil and cooling because that does tend to add very little in the way of power. We'll go full on the power, and then we'll try and bring the weight back down with things like clutch, with things like the drive line, and so on. Yeah, I'm okay with that as a overall solution, if you like. It's decent power, decent torque. Weight is a little bit on the higher side, but overall, like power to weight ratio wise, I think this is a lot better than I was expecting it to be. Tyres aren't massive, but it is a relatively modern chassis, relatively good handling car to begin with. So yeah, might not be too bad. Might not be too bad at all. So, we're off once more to the skyscraper takeoff circuit, where our Hyundai will have 5 laps to try and go as fast as possible. Now, our current leader is the Holden Commodore on 32.8, the time to beat. Honestly, I'm not really expecting the Genesis to be fighting with that Commodore. While we do have a little bit more power than the Holden, we are a fair bit heavier. The Holden, I think, had bigger tyres, and well, I know how good the Holden is as a race car. This, perhaps in the 33s, if it can handle quite well through the corners, a 33 would be we're very, very oversteery. That's a big slide through turn 3. Okay, yeah, we have got some slightly cold tyres, I will say that much, but that's a big slidey moment. Oh, and through turn 4 as well. I've been distracted. Yeah, into the 33s would probably be doing well. Into the 33s would be doing well for anything. Might just about be doable with the Genesis. We'll have to wait and see. If that turn 3 is anything to go by, we're going to be fighting with a lot of oversteer. Should be pretty good, but I could probably got a way of changing down to 4th on the exit there. Should be pretty good with that medium speed acceleration, though. We have got the power, and while it is heavier than some cars that have gone, it's not the worst for power to weight ratio, considering the likes of the Bentley, the Jeep were a lot heavier than this and had less power. Yeah, this should be pretty okay for for that acceleration. And top end speed I'm also expecting to be half decent from the Hyundai. Unlikely to break any full-on records, but he's going to be pretty decent. 212 miles an hour is actually very good of that second boost pad. As around the loop we go, hug the inside, get very close to the inside. What are we up to? 227 miles an hour as we get on the brakes. Brakes pretty good. That's a lot of speed that it shrugged off going into that final corner. It's 39.8 for an opening lap, but that was with some big sliding around that we don't really want to be doing. Oh god, I think oversteer is going to be a recurring theme in these 5 laps, because that is all the Hyundai wants to do, is just slide its way out of these corners. It's yeah, quite the oversteery car, this one. We're fine. Oh god, we're fine. Then we got a little bit twitchy going over to this whoa, bloody hell. Okay, now there is a well-known crest through that section. Has caught out many a high-powered rear-wheel drive cars. Things like the Ferrari 166 with its 900 horsepower and 1,600 pounds in weight. Yeah, I expect that to have troubles going through there. Of recent times, though, a lot of cars have been flat out relatively easily through that part. The Hyundai is not easily. I think it might be able to do it, but if you get things slightly out of shape, if you're a little bit out of position, it will just snap viciously over those crests. That is something to, yeah, watch out for. Definitely be watching out for. Not such a good run of the pads this time around. We're going to hold... It might be a little bit too heavy. It's 189. Not the worst, not the best, though, that we have seen, even without boost assistance. Oh, pushed my luck a bit too much there. That was very deep under the brakes. It just really wants to spin its wheels. 37.0 in this lap here is not going to be great either. Still kind of a little bit experimenting laps. I think we're going to have to be... No, stop. Bloody hell. We have to be really careful with the car through turn 3. So easy in these early sections to lose a heap of time with cars oversteering. Turn 3, turn 4, too clever. In turn 4 you end up in the wall. Yeah, we have to have a... Whoa, no, maybe the lift didn't quite work enough. We're going to clonk that wall as well. It's not the easiest car to drive fast. What I said about it getting into the 33s, if it drove well enough, I don't think we have enough grip in this. I just don't think... I'm sure I can... Well, in a couple of laps, I'm hoping at least I can get a clean lap out of it. But I just don't think we can carry the corner speed in this car necessary. Things like the Commodore could carry good corner speed while still being very fast in a straight line. The Esprit was not terrible in a straight line and carried insane corner speed. And the Hyundai is, yeah, it's pretty good in terms of straight line speed, but we are really struggling with these corners. And it's going to be a problem around this circuit. A circuit which we have, well, seen that we know requires decent handling cars if you are going to set fast times. Sheer power does not work around here. And the Hyundai, okay, it's a 35.6 on what was a scruffy lap, sort of scruffy start to the lap, and still some oversteer moments. So let's hope for a better run. Now, carefully does it on the power through here. Let's try and not get the car sliding. Now, it's not as quick through that section as the Esprit. It's never going to be, but it was at least smooth. And again, up over the crest. Well, we had a little bit of a slide, the tiniest bit of a bloody twitch as well on the way through there, but well, it's all done now. Oh, doesn't like that corner. It's 130 miles an hour though, we have seen worse from the car. Kind of leaving it in 5th in some places as, well, I might not be getting the maximum power being put down. That might help quell some of the wheel spin. I don't think I want 2nd though through here. Relatively long gears in this car, but we've still got big wheel spin issues. It wants to wheel spin all the way out of that crossover point as well. Just got to be patient with the car. Now, wait for it again around this turn. Don't try and jump on that power too soon. We'll just get oversteer and run up the track and bump the wall. So, yeah, once more, patience. Patience is of the essence. We fly through the air towards the 2nd boost pads. A little bit of a wiggle. Not the best run we've ever had of them. We got away with it, though, as we head around the loop. 197 miles an hour held around that section. Now, don't be too late on the brakes into this final corner. That's more like it. Patience, because it wants to spin the wheels. 34.6. Okay, we've gone quicker. It slid all its way now down towards turn 1 and 2, but we are through there cleanly. Can I get 0.6 of a second to break it into the 33s? It might be asking a bit too much of this car. I've pushed it more through turn 3, a little bit more through turn 3, while still trying to maintain that level of control. It's going to slide its way up the hill through turn 4 a little bit. Try and keep your foot down. Yes, that's more like it. Foot down all the way through that section, although it's put me out a smidge too wide, annoyingly, for the next part, because I wasn't quite prepared for the level of speed that I then carried by going flat out. So that's kind of counteracted itself. Well done, me. Up towards the crossover point we go. Now, don't put it in a 2nd. It's just going to be a wheel spin. Considering 3rd gear is often a wheel spin gear in this car, 2nd's not a good idea, because I want to use as much power as I can. I want to get out of these corners as quickly as possible, but spinning our wheels all the way is not going to be particularly helpful. A lot of fire coming from the back of the Genesis. So we again get a little bit of a slide on the way out of these corners. I mean, I'm managing it all at the moment, but it is hindering the car a bit. The oversteer, it's drivable, it's not insane, it's not uncontrollable. A couple of miles an hour quicker around the loop here, but it is still something that is having to be managed. Up towards the final corner we go. It's very, very nicely done around there. Can we get the 33s? We can! A 33.7. It's a good lap time. In the end, from the Genesis, you've really got to turn down the aggression with this car. It's quite a different, some vehicles like the Esprit or so, and you've really got to throw the car around to get lap speed. We're seeing it from a few cars as well. You've really got to attack the course. With this, you do that and you'll be all over the place. You turn down the aggression, you've got to really, really focus on driving the car smoothly. And, well, you can get the lap time out of it. A 33.7 is a bloody fast lap time indeed. It is going to put the car into 10th place. It makes its way, claws its way into the top 10, does the Hyundai. It beats the Mazda MX-5, the Porsche 928, Mercedes 190e, Supra Mark III, and so on. It loses out to the three-way tie, the M3, Legacy, Lotus Elise, that kind of part of the table. In the end, I mean, we're just under a second off from that Holden Commodore. It struggles a bit. It struggles a fair bit, actually, through the corners. It is not the easiest of cars to drive quickly around here. It doesn't have the level of, well, rear-end stability to really be able to carry the corner speed. It's just not quite there. That being said, it does make up time elsewhere. It is very quick in the medium speed sections. It is a very good top speed from the car. Brakes are pretty solid as well. And while, yeah, it doesn't have perhaps the ultimate corner speed, the likes of the Commodore or the Esprit and so on, it's not so far off that it can't make up some time elsewhere. You know, it's as I said, that's the second down on the Commodore. That's pretty bloody good going, because that Holden has proved to be a mighty car around here. So, yeah, the Genesis does very well. Actually, does a little bit better than I was perhaps expecting it to do here, which is always nice to be surprised by a car. That, though, is going to be it for this video. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.